If getting your products into boutiques has been on your list for some time, then this is your sign. The Retail Ready Wholesale Challenge is a 5-day private podcast experience that walks you through exactly how to find the right retailers, write a pitch that gets replies, and follow up like a pro. It's only 20 minutes a day, $25, and by day 3, you'll have real pitches in real retailer inboxes. One wholesale account more than pays for this challenge many times over. Go to retailreadychallenge.com or the link in the show notes to grab your spot. You open up your Faire analytics and the views are there. You can see them. But you've had hundreds of shop visits this month and maybe even thousands, and retailers are finding you, but they're not clicking to purchase. They're simply scrolling your products and then they leave. No order, no favorites, nothing. Here's the thing I want you to understand before we get into this episode. That is not a traffic problem. That is not a product problem. This is a conversion problem. And conversion problems are almost always clarity problems. Something in your shop is confusing retailers, and confused retailers don't buy. They bounce. Today, we're going to fix exactly that. I'm going to be breaking down 5 specific reasons retailers browse your Faire shop and walk away without ever placing an order. And for each of those reasons, I'm giving you exactly how to fix it. This is the audit your Faire shop probably needs and you haven't had yet. And you know, if you have done a Faire shop audit with you, we get in the weeds. You are going to walk away today with 5 things to fix in your Faire shop. Welcome to She Sells Differently. Hi, friends. Welcome to She Sells Differently, the show for aspiring women entrepreneurs looking to overcome the fear of selling and grow thriving businesses from a place of authenticity and confidence. I'm Andee Hart, and it wasn't all that long ago that I was a sales executive for a Fortune 500 company. But I knew in my heart that I was called to use my gifts for something more, something different. That's exactly why I created the She Sells Differently podcast. Each episode is going to deliver you business strategies, tools, and mindset shifts to help set you and your brand apart from our culture's expectations. It's time to elevate your sales and build a profitable, sustainable business you're proud of, one built on integrity, grace, and humility. It's time to learn how to sell differently. Okay, before we dive into the 5 reasons that retailers are not buying from you on Faire, I want to say something that is going to reframe this entire conversation for you. It's important to remember that Faire is not social media. It is not Etsy, and it is not your direct-to-consumer website. Retailers are not casual browsers. They are buyers with a budget, a store concept, and decisions to make fast. And when a retail buyer lands on your Faire shop, they are asking 3 questions almost from the get-go. Is this brand right for my store? What do I buy first from this brand? And can I trust this brand to deliver? If your shop can't answer all 3 of those questions in the first few seconds, they move on. They have dozens of other brands to look at, and quite frankly, they're just not going to sit with your shop and try to figure it out themselves. As I mentioned before, a confused mind says no. So what your job is to do is to not just have great products. Your job is to make those answers obvious and fast. Okay, that being said, let's dive into the 5 reasons that retailers are visiting your shop and not making a purchase. Something I think that most Faire shop owners miss is the fact that Faire is a visual marketplace. And retail buyers scroll through dozens, literally dozens of brands in minutes. And here's where most product business owners get this wrong. They use the exact same photography for Faire that they use on Instagram. Sometimes it's those moody lifestyle shots, those close cropped detail images, those artsy flat lays with props and texture. And hey, those are actually great. What I want you to be aware of is the first thumbnail image for that product. That is the first thing that your retailers see. And those images might be stunning on social media, but on Faire at thumbnail size, they don't really tell the retailer what they need to know fast and help them to make a decision whether they even want to check your shop out or not. It's important to remember that Faire buyers are moving fast, and so you have to make their job easy. So here's a test that I want you to do right now. Very easy. You can actually pause and do it or just do it right after this episode. But I want you to pull up your Faire shop on your phone. Pull it up on your phone, and I want you to look at your catalog thumbnails. Now, thumbnails, just a reminder, that is the first image on a product listing. And look at it at size they actually display in the search results for your shop. Can you immediately tell what the product is? Can you tell its approximate size? Does it look like something that would belong on a retail shelf? And if you can't answer those questions immediately, then guess what? Your buyer can't either. So here's the simple fix. For your thumbnail images, I want you to prioritize clean backgrounds that have a strong contrast between your product and the background, and a clear product framing in your primary thumbnail image. Test those images at the small sizes on your mobile phone. And like I said, if you can't tell what the product is at 100 pixels wide, neither can your retailer that's just scrolling on Faire. And if you need to make sure that your product is understood, then show the product in a real context, styled in shelf and product packaging, displayed in multiples. Help the buyer visualize it in their store. Another pro tip for you is to spend just 5 minutes looking at the top performing brands in your specific category on Faire. It's very interesting to see what their thumbnails all have in common, and that should be your benchmark. Now, I'm certainly not saying to copy what they're doing, but to look and see what they have in common and why their shop is performing well. It's important to remember that your thumbnail is not just a photo. It is literally your first impression to the retailer. It's a scroll stopper and a product pitch all in one, and you need to treat it like one. So here is the second reason. I want you to think about this question. When a retail buyer is looking for what you sell, what do they actually type into the Faire search bar? They are not naming your collection or typing in your collection name. They're not typing your brand tagline. They are typing what they need, what they're looking for. So it could be soy candles, boutique greeting cards, natural soap, handmade jewelry. And if your product titles don't contain those words, you are invisible to that search. The buyer will never even see you. Most makers name their products based on internal logic and a collection name that means something to them, a poetic description, a series number, and none of that maps to how a retail buyer is actually searching for your products. Now, here's a specific example on what I mean by this. Let's say that you make an 8-ounce lavender and cedar soy candle, and in your Faire shop, it's listed as the Ember Collection number 3. Listen, that is a beautiful product name, but it tells a retail buyer almost nothing. They are searching for soy candle or small batch candle or lavender candle. The Ember Collection number 3 is not showing up in those results. Now, compare that to a product title like soy candle lavender, 8-ounce, small batch candles, same product, completely different searchability. Now, here's the fix. I want you to lead every product title with the category word first, category before name, always. Think about how a buyer would search for your product. Type and start your title search there. And you can absolutely keep your poetic product names, just lead with the searchable category before them when it comes to your product titles. You worked so hard to create beautiful products, so you want to make sure that your buyers are actually finding them. Okay, this next one is a mindset shift as much as it is a copy fix. And I think it's one of the most important things that I can say to you on this episode. So if you're distracted, come back to me. When you sell direct to consumer on your website, at a market, on Etsy, you are selling to a person who wants the product. They are the end user. They care that it's beautiful, that it aligns with their values, that it feels like a gift to themselves. But when you sell wholesale to a retailer, you are selling to a business owner, and she is not buying your product for herself. She is buying your product because she believes her customers will buy it. She is making an inventory decision. And that means she is thinking about things like sell-through rate, margin, price point appeal, and how fast she can reorder. She wants to sell your products in her shop as much as you want to sell your products to her. Now, most Faire shop copy or product descriptions, they're written for the end consumer. I see this all the time. It says handcrafted with love, made with natural ingredients, perfect for gifting. That copy is not wrong. It's not wrong at all. It's not speaking the exact language of a retail buyer. Now, what retail buyers need to know is, like I said, will this sell in my store? Will I be able to move this inventory? And is it worth the shelf space? And if your product descriptions are not answering those questions, you are not solving the retail buyer's problem. Now, here's your fix. I want you to rewrite your product descriptions with sell-through language. You should be saying things like a consistent bestseller in gift shops, or high perceived value at an accessible price point, strong repurchase rate from our existing retail partners. And if you have retail performance data, use it by all means. Something like this: retailers report selling through their first order in under 60 days. That sentence does more selling than any lifestyle description ever will. If you don't have that data yet, then use logical retail language. Something like a natural add-on at the $20 price point. Or you could say reorder friendly with fast turnaround. So think about shifting every product description from this is beautiful to this performs, this sells in your store. Both can be true, but the second one makes the sale when it comes to wholesaling your products. Remember that retailers are not buying products that they love, they're buying products they believe their customers will love. Right for that buyer. Now, reason number 4 is something that I see all the time, and it's probably one of the hardest things to fix, but it happens when a retailer lands on your Faire shop and your catalog feels scattered, meaning you have different aesthetics, wildly different product categories, photography styles that don't match, and your branding shifts from listing to listing. It sends a signal, and here is what that signal is. This brand is inconsistent, and inconsistency feels risky. A retailer who is deciding whether to place their first order with you is already taking a chance on a new vendor, and they don't know how your product will land with their customers. They don't know if you'll restock quickly. They don't know if the quality is consistent. Your catalog is one of the few things you can control in that moment. And if it looks scattered, you're adding risk to an already uncertain buying decision. Now, here's something that I want you to consider. I see a lot of makers that launch on Faire with literally every single product that they make rather than curating a cohesive wholesale collection. And so while that can look like abundance and I have all of these pretty things that I offer, it can feel cluttered to a buyer who just wants to know what to order first. Remember, you do not want to confuse the buyer. You want to make doing business with you easy. So, more is not always better on the Faire shop front. A cohesive product collection will always perform and convert better. So here's how you fix that. I want you to audit your catalog for that visual brand cohesion. Means same photography style across listings, consistent brand colors and packaging, unified aesthetic from the shop banner to the last product image. And I want you to create defined collections and name them clearly. Group products so a buyer can understand how the pieces work together and how they look together on a shelf. Consider removing products from your Faire catalog that don't fit the wholesale context. Even if they sell well direct to consumer, not everything belongs in your wholesale shop. So ask yourself this: if a retailer ordered one of everything from my shop, would it look like a cohesive brand story on a shelf? If the honest answer is no, then that is when you know you have some work to do. Remember, cohesion signals professionalism, and professionalism earns trust. Trust closes orders. Okay, and reason number 5, I purposefully ended on this one because I think it's one of the most underrated and underestimated elements of your Faire shop, and it's always also the easiest to improve. So, this is your brand story. I have actually had multiple retail partners begin ordering from me because they saw my brand story on Faire. It's your about section, your maker profile. It's not just optional, it's necessary. It is part of the buying decision, and a retail buyer who connects with why you make what you make is far more likely to take a chance on a new wholesale partnership than one who skimmed a generic 3-sentence bio. Remember that retailers are human and they buy from people they like and trust, and your brand story is your chance to be that person, not just a product catalog. What I see happening is most brand stories on Faire fall into one of these 2 categories. Category 1, there's nothing really tangible there. They just list a bunch of product features and they really miss the opportunity completely. Category 2 is like a press release. Founded in 2019, handmade small batches in our studio in Memphis, Tennessee. We use only the highest quality materials. Listen, that is not a story. That is a LinkedIn headline. Neither of those builds a connection. Neither of those makes a buyer feel anything. And buyers who don't need anything don't take chances on new vendors. Here is how to fix that. I want you to tell a story. Why did you start this business? What drove you to make this product? Who are you making it for? I want you to be specific, and the specific human answer to those questions is more compelling than any perfectly crafted AI statement that is on your Faire profile. It's helpful, too, to remember to include something concrete and memorable. Retailers, they remember the maker who built her brand at her kitchen table during nap time and grew to 200 wholesale accounts. They forget the brand with a polished tagline with no story behind it at all. Close your brand story with a retailer-facing statement, something that signals you understand wholesale and you're going to make an amazing wholesale partner. Something along the lines of, we support our retail accounts with seasonal new arrivals, reliable wholesale, reordering timelines, and a minimum designed to be easy to start. That kind of statement is reassuring to a first-time buyer. And then it's also important to remember to update it. If your brand story was written the week you launched Faire and your business has grown or shifted since then, it's probably time to update it to reflect that. Okay, let's pull all of this together. If you're getting views on Faire, but you're not getting orders, the problem is almost never the product. The problem is what the product looks like inside your shop. Retailers are landing on your page, they're ready to buy, and something in the experience is making them leave without doing it. And we covered 5 specific things today that might be causing that. So remember, you do not have to fix all of these 5 in a week. I actually don't want you to even try that. I want you to pick one that you know will make the most impact. The one where you thought, oh, that's me. Start there, take an audit and fix it, and then come back for the next one. Because here is something I know, the brands that win on Faire are not always the ones with the prettiest products or the biggest catalogs. They are the ones who make it easiest for a retailer to say yes. Now, if this episode hit you in a certain way and you realize, hey, I know that that's me. I need help implementing these changes. I need other eyes on my Faire shop. Then I invite you to apply to my Faire Accelerator program. It's a brand new program and it's high impact, high touch coaching. And it is specifically for you if you are ready to grow your wholesale brand like never before. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Until then, I'm cheering you on. All right, that's a wrap on today's episode of She Sells Differently. Friends, it would be a huge blessing to me if you would take 2 seconds to rate and subscribe to my podcast. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Until then, I'm cheering you on in your entrepreneurial journey. See you next time.